Hey, ladies and gents, and welcome to the Controlled Interest Gamecast, where we talk about video games and everything happening in the industry. As always, I'm joined by Dom. How's it going, Dom?
Hello.
Hello. And Jordan. How's it going, Jordan?
Hey, how's it going, boys?
Hey, episode 26. Last week we were a quarter century old. Now we're 26, so we're right over the hump. We're almost 30. Life's almost over as we know it. So, as far as what we've been playing, wasn't too much of a variety for me. So Madden 17 came out this week on Tuesday. Been playing that a whole bunch, and loving it. It's what I expect. It's nothing spectacular. It's not Game of the Year or anything. It's Madden, but NFL is my favorite sport, and every year I'm hungry for the NFL. And luckily, Madden usually comes out 2 to 3 weeks before the season starts, and kind of fills the void there. That's great. There's some obvious improvements. It's obviously better than last Madden, but it's not the game I want completely. There are still tons of aspects that can be improved, but overall it's a good game. Been just playing that a whole bunch, and then Spelunky. I've gone back into Spelunky. That game has its hooks in me deeply again. There's so many secrets to that game that's really cool. So remember the episode when I was explaining to you guys what the game was? There's so many secrets I didn't even know about. There's hidden levels. There's like an alien spaceship level that I didn't know about. There's tons of hidden secrets in this game. You can go to hell. You have to kill like Anubis. There's a bunch of stuff that I didn't know about this game that I just recently found out about. So it's kind of that hook of trying to get there and trying to figure that stuff out for myself. And yeah, just a fun game overall. So just Madden and Spelunky. What about you guys?
So I got a laundry list of games.
I know. I saw the docket, man. Geesh Louise, what a busy week for you.
Yeah. So first off, I finished Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Awesome.
I was much closer to the end than I thought. It took me probably half an hour from when we last talked, but the ending was fine. I mean, the whole story was kind of just there. It was kind of lame, but fun game. So after that, played a lot of Grand Theft Auto V or Grand Theft Auto 5. Emily was really heavy into wanting to play this for a while, and so I finally bought it last week, and we probably played for close to 15 hours. And as I was describing earlier, I really like the game so far, but there's this weird thing going on where all the font is extremely tiny and hard to read, where I have to get up off my couch and take 2 steps towards the TV to read it. Really stupid little detail, but really frustrating. So after that, got through the first 3 episodes of Telltale's Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Really like it so far.
Dang. It's good.
Yeah. I'm cranking through games this past week, apparently.
I know.
But yeah, the first 3 episodes really cool so far. I think they made all the right decisions with, they do have some of the characters from the show, but they kind of put the bigger moments from the show off screen, and you're kind of doing your own thing on the side a little bit. But those big events still do affect you. But
they still happen, which is good to know about.
Right.
Yeah.
I felt like they did a really good job with making you feel like the show characters were important in your story, but that they weren't just there to be show characters.
And it still made you feel as if you were in that world while everything was taking place. It's not like this is taking place somewhere else, like just pretending nothing else happened. I really enjoyed that.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I like that you kind of have a blank slate with your character. So if you were playing as Jamie, for example, Jamie Lannister, then you would cater all you'd probably, or some of us would say, well, I'm going to say this because that's what Jamie would say and that sort of thing. But you get these blank slate characters who are really kind of bland. But, I mean, depending on what you do and what you say to people, you can be very different people. And it's just like the show where you are playing as several different characters, too, which is cool. So, after Game of Thrones, I also grabbed Bastion on Vita.
Nice.
It was like $3. And it's a fine little game. It's okay. It's a good Vita game, but it's kind of, I can't play for it. It's fun. Like, the loop is there. It's fun, but I can't play it for more than like an hour or 2. It just kind of gets a little too repetitive, but fun little game.
Is it the gameplay you don't like, or the art style, or like what exactly is it? Well, you like it, but like not that it doesn't hook you enough.
It feels like a phone game to me. It feels like it's the same thing over and over. I do like they do add in like some RPG elements, like you're upgrading your weapons and that kind of stuff, and that's nice. But I don't know. I feel like after a few levels, you've already played it all. But it's fine. It's good. I mean, no real complaints. Like, it's what it is. Cost me $3, so.
Yeah, completely worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cross-buy, cross-save with your PS4 as well.
Yeah, maybe I should try it on PS4. Maybe I'll like it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Having a bigger screen. But next on the list, like I said, this is a laundry list, is Dragon's Dogma. Probably put about 2 hours in. Going to be diving into that deeper in the next few weeks here. I've been crunching through the backlog, and that's the only thing really left. Dragon's Dogma and actually Dragon Age Inquisition I still haven't played. And that's just been waiting for me. I've owned it for like 2 years. That'll be a behemoth to get through. But anyway, after that, I did play a round of Star Wars Battlefront Twist. I played it with remote play on the Vita.
Nice.
Not too bad. They did a really good job with the controls here.
All right.
Your triggers are actually aim and shoot. Like, Naughty Dog couldn't figure that out for The Last of Us, apparently, or they didn't care to. And then they did something really clever. So because in most games you would click in the left stick while you're moving to run, they actually, and since you can't click in the sticks on the Vita, they made the run button down on the D-pad. So if you're going forward, it's really easy to also hit the D-pad down button simultaneously so you can run. It's really clever. I never would have thought of that.
Wasn't Battlefront 2 on the PSP as well? Wasn't there? What was on the PSP? Yeah, right? Okay.
Yep.
That was cool. I owned that on the PSP. So
yeah, it was fun.
I thought it worked well. So it makes sense that they were able to do that too. They might have looked at that for inspiration. So, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely they put some thought into these controls is all. That's all it takes is a little bit of thought and you can figure it out. Whereas some other games, you can tell they didn't even do anything. And it was probably some guy at Sony threw the mapping out there or whatever really quick.
Yeah.
But anyway, next, and I actually did pretty good in that round. I just did a round of team deathmatch, and I actually went positive, like 12-8 or something. I was surprised. I wish I could tell everyone as I killed them, like I just killed you from the Vita, bro. But,
from Vita Island.
Anyway. Yeah, exactly. Next, I read my first comic book, The Killing Joke.
Yippee!
Really cool. I like the story. I love the ending. It's very ambiguous. I have my own theories, and I like the fact, like, I like the Joker origin story, or is it?
Yeah.
I like that whole thing. Like, did that actually happen? Or I like how they kind of leave it all. Really cool. Really
It's
well
funny
done.
that you say that because now everyone takes that as the true Joker origin. Like,
yeah.
And that was never even said that was going to be the case when the comic came out.
Also, it has the best comic book line of all time, I think, where he says, "You're just one bad day away from being me." I love that line so much. I own The Killing Joke, and I don't really own a lot of DC stuff, but I heard about Killing Joke like you, bought it, couldn't be more happy that I bought it. It's awesome. So,
yeah, and I love that line too. They used that in The Dark Knight, if you remember when Heath Ledger says something about madness is like gravity. It just takes a little push, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So same kind of idea. So I will say though that I would probably not. Definitely not going to continue to read comics on physically, just because if you're reading a book, this isn't a problem. But in a comic book where there's pictures, when you turn a page, if there's a huge picture on the right of something important happening, it's going to spoil it for you a couple frames ahead of time. If that makes sense.
I got you.
I would just see things out of my peripheral, like, oh, and it just kind of takes away from it. But
it's definitely you kind of have to like train your eye to keep from jumping.
There was guys at the comic book shop I used to go to that would bring, so on Wednesdays, obviously when all the comics are released, they would bring like a blank piece of printer paper, and what they would do is they'd put it in between the page, like on the page, so every time they flipped, that right side would always be covered. You know what I'm talking about?
It's just so much effort, but I can see where that works.
Comic books in general are so much effort. It's a dying medium, so.
So I did also, I have like the first issue of The Walking Dead on my phone, and that works much better because you can just click, it goes frame to frame.
Yeah, I have it on my iPad. Oh boy, I love reading comics on my iPad. It works so well. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, you'll probably like that. I don't know if you have a tablet, Dom, but really great on tablet.
I mean, my phone is the iPhone Plus, the big one, so it's not too bad. So
it's like a tablet, yeah.
It's getting there, yeah. It's
it is a great
close to 6 inches.
Comics.
So,
and
last on the list, I finally saw Batman vs Superman: The Extended Cut on Blu-ray.
Okay.
Whatever. I honestly couldn't tell you what the difference was or what they added. I don't really remember.
They added a whole character story.
What was that?
Jenna Malone, the blonde-headed girl with glasses that was helping Lois Lane figure out the bullet.
Oh, okay.
In the little bag.
I don't even remember that not being in the original. But I did come around a little bit more on that movie. I think I like it a bit better than I originally said when I first saw it. I really like this Batman better than the Dark Knight trilogy's Batman. I mean, those are of course much better movies from Christopher Nolan, but I do like this like ruthless Batman that they have going. I like that they did something much different. So, I mean, all the other complaints are still there, like Martha, seriously, but. So that's it. That's my laundry list. That's all.
You, Jordan?
Yeah, so not much of a list for me this week. Once again, I was just had my nose in a book like a nerd, you know. But I did play, turned on the PS4 for just a few minutes and decided to just randomly, I was just getting an itching for some Metal Gear, so played some Phantom Pain for like a mission, and then I'm at the point now where I've beat the game, but then you have to redo all these missions on extra difficulties with all these like debuffs, so that well, basically just because they didn't give Kojima enough time to finish the game, so he kind of just had to lop stuff on the end of it.
Yeah.
So,
but
quick tangent. I got a question for you. So I was really intrigued by Phantom Pain. I really wanted to play it, but I've never played any Metal Gear games.
Yeah.
So I was like hesitant, and it's a little bit weird. I don't know if I could really get into it. So I think I want to, but my question is going to be, should I go back and play every other Metal Gear game first? I mean, would it be worth it? Or should I just jump in and just screw around with Phantom Pain for a while?
I would say probably just go with MGS5, because the older ones, you can definitely
because they're
tell.
Mostly on Vita now, I think. Most of them are available.
Most of them, yeah. You could play 1, 2, and 3 for sure. Yeah, then you'd have to get a PS4 or PS3 for MGS4.
Honestly, my opinion...
And also for Peace Walker.
My opinion is, I've never played the Metal Gear games, but the way Konami's shaping up, I really think you should just wait a couple of years, and they're probably going to come out with like remasters or remakes or something.
That's a good point.
Maybe.
Yeah. That'd be the smartest way for them to handle the franchise without getting fans super mad, of just remaking the old ones that people already love. Or like remastering them. So that's a good way to get around it, of getting money. Obviously, they're a business, but not tarnishing their track record anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see those in the next couple of years. That's what I'm planning on. I've never played an MGS game, but I'm just waiting on the remix or remasters for 1, 2, and then 3. Obviously, people love Jordan as well. So
yeah, definitely. Like we talked about with the pachinko machines, the 3 remake is looking more and more possible, but yeah, those games definitely show their age as far as like mechanics and the way they control and stuff. So they are a little bit tougher than to go back to than just like a straight up, you know, Ratchet and Clank or something more vanilla like that. But the story is really interesting, as weird as it is, and you aren't gonna know what the fuck's going on. So it's kind of just whatever you want to do. But I mean, if I know that, you don't necessarily. The story's not amazing in MGS5 and the way it connects everything, so you don't necessarily need that part of it. And the gameplay's really where it's at, and so, yeah, you may just play the MGS5 itself. You can start out with Ground Zeroes, but...
What did you read, Jordan, by the way?
So, yeah, that was all I played. That was probably about, like, 45 minutes of gameplay. And then besides that, I've been reading Tolkien's Silmarillion. Do you guys know about this?
Yeah. That's the one that has, like, the ancillary side stories and stuff, right?
Kind of. It's basically like Tolkien's creation myth of the world of the Lord of the Rings, and talks about the gods and how they made the elves and the humans and the dwarves and all the different stuff that was going on in the first and second age before the third age, where the original books take place. So really cool stuff. It's written in a different way than like the other 4 books would be. It's more of like a fairy tale type, thou and thee and that sort of thing. But once you kind of sink your teeth in, I had already started it a few years ago and just never picked it back up. So once you kind of sink your teeth in and really get to know like how he's describing these characters, how he's going to be writing it, and how it's going to be kind of old-timey in the way it sounds, you're really able to get past that and just enjoy the story for what it is. And it's really, really cool stuff. Some of the characters that he brings up and the way that he gets you really connected to somebody, and then like just kills them off, or chops their arm off or something like that. So it's a really cool book. Just about finished with it, and then besides that, just been reading a bunch of comics. Got closer to catching up with all new, all different Marvel. I'm about to read Avengers Standoff, which is the first event in that group of comics.
Oh,
and
nice.
Then today I read a bunch of stuff. I read Uncanny Avengers. I read Star Wars and Star Wars Poe Dameron. I read Outcast number 20 and the Rebirth comics for Blue Beetle and Supergirl.
Nice. I was actually I want to hop into the Rebirth for Teen Titans. Or I think it's just called Titans.
Yes.
Well, there's Teen Titans and Titans, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's in this Rebirth there's actually both. Yeah. So Teen Titans is like younger actual teens. Titans are more like college age, like Nightwing and Wally West.
Well, yeah. Damian runs the Teen Titans now, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
does.
The new Robin's dumb. I don't know if you're familiar.
Which is new. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's everything.
So, yeah.
Everything we've been playing this week. Really quick story here from Eurogamer. The title of the story is "We have to do better when we launch NX." This is a quote from Reggie Fils-Aimé, who obviously is the Nintendo of America president. And Tom Phillips writes here at Eurogamer, Nintendo has said it must do a better job of launching NX than its predecessor Wii U. It's not exactly a surprise to hear Nintendo say this, but it's pleasing to hear Nintendo of America boss Reggie Fils-Aimé admit specific things which went wrong with Wii U and what needs to be done different for the upcoming NX. One of the things that we have done to do better when we launch one of the things we have to do is do better when we launch the NX. We have to do a better job communicating the positioning for the product. This is probably relating to the fact that a lot of people thought the Wii U was an attachment to the Wii. We have to do a better job helping people to understand its uniqueness and what this means for the game playing experience. And then the story goes into obviously how bad the Wii U did in comparison to other video game consoles, yada yada yada. But then he also states we have to do a better job from a software planning standpoint as well. This is also probably due to the fact that we heard, that Pokemon, Mario, and Zelda are all going to be within the first 6 months of NX, right? I believe that's what the story was, which we already knew about Zelda. Mario was kind of a given for a Nintendo platform. The Pokemon one is interesting because Sun and Moon is coming out this fall, so I don't know if the new Pokemon thing on X is just the Sun and Moon port, but Pokemon's never released the same Pokemon game on two different platforms. I mean, there's Virtual Console, but that doesn't really count. You know what I'm saying? Like an actual release. It's kind of weird. So we'll see exactly what that Pokemon game is. It could be a Detective Pikachu game to coincide with the movie that Legendary Pictures is in the running to make, but we'll see. So what do you guys think about this? Reggie Fils-Aimé kind of owning up to the fact that they screwed up the launch of Wii U and they have to do better.
Well, it's just kind of I read that and just said, well, duh.
Yeah. What is? This is a less proud Nintendo now. Now they're willing to admit these mistakes. Usually they wouldn't say this stuff. It's not surprising to us, but it is surprising that they're saying something. You know, it's not surprising maybe the words that they said, but the person that's saying it is the surprise, I think.
But as much as you feel like he's being a Captain Obvious right now, Dom, I'm still looking at him and going, yeah, I've heard similar things before from you guys, and honestly, I'm at the point where I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. I do like him coming out and saying something.
Just because they're saying it, just because they're saying it, I don't think they'll automatically do it.
Yeah. True. But it is good to at least hear something.
Yeah.
So. The next story here, we're getting to a couple of big pieces of PlayStation news. Obviously, this news broke a couple of days after we recorded last week's episode, as usual. This comes by way of Eurogamer as well. This is by Wesley Poole over at Eurogamer. The PS4 Slim is real, confirmed. And basically at the top of the page, they said they have an update saying we can confirm that the PS4 Slim is real. And the story basically went into, on NeoGAF, users were basically posting pictures of a leaked PS4 Slim. The way it happened is the new console was first spotted on an auction website, and then it got picked up by NeoGAF, and then users, including Shortman82, as well as some other NeoGAF users, were posting pictures, and they were actually posting comparisons between it and a PS4, a regular PS4. And if you go to the article, you can obviously see the pictures of the model. It's a little bit more beveled. It doesn't look to be too much smaller than the PS4. I don't know how much smaller it can get. I mean, the PS4 is already kind of small. But it is more beveled. I made a joke through a personal chat saying that it looked like a Roku to me. And it doesn't say on the story here, but isn't it missing a port on the back?
Optical port, yeah.
Yeah, it's missing an optical port.
So I actually use that on my PS4 for audio purposes. Since I switch between two TVs, if you're trying to play on the second TV but still use the surround sound audio that is, like the main audio, then I have to use that port. So, it kind of sucks that it's leaving.
Also, no faceplate.
No faceplate. Isn't that kind of it's worse for people who still have older audio receivers that don't have HDMI with audio running through it type of thing?
Right, yeah. With optical, it can only be 2.0, so it's not even like 5.1 or 7.1. So it is understandable that they took it out because it is a lower quality audio signal.
Also, I keep reading that like it's going away. Like optical is kind of being phased out, so that's why. But.
Yeah.
And then Jared, you mentioned no faceplates. That honestly, I got the red faceplate on my white PS4 this week, and makes me a little upset.
But also it kind of helps them because it's one less thing that they have to put into it, one less component, so it helps drive that price down. Maybe not substantially, but it still helps with the discussion. Also, on the bottom of it, the buttons for the I don't know what they're called, like the grip help. I don't know what you call those things, but on the bottom has the 9.
The feet, the rubber feet.
Yeah, and it has all of the buttons for the PlayStation. I thought it was a nice touch. The Xbox One S has a Master Chief on the inside of it, a little beveled Master Chief. So I thought these are really cool. Legacy.
The screws when you replace your hard drive also have those sacred symbols on there.
Oh, that's really cool. So the second story here, going along with the leaks, is the new DualShock 4. So this comes by way of VG247. It's basically they made a post kind of having everything in it, so the PS4 Slim as well as the DualShock. But I got the story because the other one didn't include the DualShock news. So here on the bottom of the article, and this article is by Sharif Saeed. It basically states, the upper end of the controller's touchpad now has a transparent bit that lets the light from the light bar travel through it to make it easier to see what color your controller is for multiplayer games. There are other minor changes to the button and stick colors as well. This is funny because we had a discussion in an earlier Gamecast about Jordan didn't really like the lighthouse of the Xbox One controller, and this might kind of be the same thing. Not as drastic, but this seems like something that's like so incremental. And it does make sense because there's no reason you have to turn over your controller to see what player you are, but it's kind of a weird excuse. There has to be something else to it other than that, because if that's the thing, it's kind of, I don't know, it's weird to me that'd be the only reason they changed that.
Hey man, shout out to Microsoft because they updated their controller several months ago, and the little bits that they put in there were way better than this. They added Bluetooth support. They changed the headphone jack from proprietary to regular 3.5 millimeter. They changed a couple other little things that I don't even know about because I'm not an Xbox head, but they really did up the value of the controller in my opinion, and Sony didn't. So shout out to Microsoft.
Yeah. It's weird that so much is leaking about this. Like the event is so close, and it's just stuff is starting to roll out. We still have more than a week till the PlayStation meeting, and I want to see what else comes out. Hopefully, I really like reveal events where there's something you don't know about, like the whole God of War thing. We kind of knew that it was happening, but not in that instance. Right. I really hope that there's something I think there will be something out of left field we don't know about, but these leaks, man, they're pretty substantial.
I think and what that thing is that we don't know about is something else a part of that firmware update. I think there's going to be something big.
Name changes
with that. I don't know, but I mean they would have I don't know if it's ever going to happen because it would have happened by now. I feel like, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's worth noting that we did know, like you said, Jared. We didn't know this. Well, actually, we kind of did know the specifics of God of War with it being Norse and all that, but we knew everything in Sony's E3 conference before it even happened. It was all leaked out.
True.
The lack of Neo. The God of War, Days Gone,
Did we know about Spider-Man? Well, we kind of knew about Spider-Man. We thought it was Sucker Punch, but we didn't know it was happening. So, yeah.
That's the thing, is we knew everything. We just didn't know the minute details. So it's like, we didn't get surprised at E3. It would be nice to get surprised here, but it looks like they kind of are getting ruined.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the PlayStation leak of the week. Tune in next week when we have even more leaks, probably. There's still a weird rumor, unsubstantiated by no one, that Red Dead is going to end the show, which would be awesome, but that's just completely hearsay. So next story here is something I'm super stoked about. I think I'm as happy and elated as people were when they heard that Inside was coming to PS4. Exclusive to Chloe Rad over IGN, Jonathan Blow announced that The Witness is coming to Xbox One. This is on a lot of people's shortlist for Game of the Year. If you didn't know, this is Jonathan Blow's new indie game. He's the guy who made Braid, which is one of the best indie games of all time. He said that they're aiming for a September 13th release date, which is super soon. Originally, I remember when this game was coming out, they asked him if it was ever going to come to Xbox One. He wasn't sure. He didn't really dodge the question. I think they just didn't know how good this game was going to do, because if the game didn't do well, then I don't know if there's really enough monetary gain there to actually put it on their platforms. But I think that once they saw it was so successful, they probably had some kind of deal with Sony, and they're like, as soon as we're done with that deal, we're going to put it on all platforms we can, because it was such a hit.
Right.
And I'm so stoked, because a lot of people make jokes that this is draw the line the game. I've made that joke in the past. But it is a very beautiful game. I love puzzles games. I love walking simulators, and this is a walking simulator that's also a puzzle game. I like Firewatch, but I think this has a lot more gameplay to it than Firewatch, and they kind of are the same aesthetic, not really, but kind of. And any time a platform can get a console exclusive that's a Game of the Year nominee, i.e. Inside and now The Witness, all these other people get to play, it's just awesome. Gamers win. That's awesome. So I'm super stoked.
Were you surprised? Because I honestly wasn't when I saw this pop up on IGN.
So
I was you know what?
I'm not surprised, but there seemed like there was some weird issues between Microsoft and Jonathan Blow, like some ill will for some reason. I had seen some interviews where
Braid?
What did you say? No, not with
because of Braid.
I don't know if it was for Braid, but I think it was post Braid. I don't know if maybe because Braid did so well that they maybe were trying to work on a deal and it never happened. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, is like they were salty because Braid was an Xbox Live Arcade game, and then he did Witness on PS4.
Yeah. So, no, but I think even before The Witness was even a thing, I think there might have been something there. Because for the longest time, it seemed like people were wondering, I don't know, there was a lot of issues there. Either way, super stoked that The Witness is coming out for Xbox One. Another Game of the Year game that's available on a console that people weren't able to play before, so that's awesome. This is what I want for exclusives in the future. Honestly, I would like there to not be exclusives. But if these third-party exclusives can come sooner, having to wait a year for Tomb Raider was kind of insane. A couple of months, I think, is awesome. I mean, Witness is still, it's half a year, but still, this is cool. I'm glad everybody gets to play these games. First parties, obviously, will never come to the other console. That makes sense, but these third parties coming over a lot quicker is really cool.
The other thing to point out there is we always knew that Tomb Raider was coming.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna hold out. You weren't gonna go buy an Xbox if you really want to play it. You're just gonna wait. But for The Witness, we didn't know for sure if it was ever coming to Xbox. So that's a more honest. I mean, it does better for an exclusivity period when people don't know it's coming, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Just a little thing.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's coming out, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. And even though it's been 6 months, it's not like, oh, I've waited 6 months for Witness. It's like, oh, this is a lot quicker than I ever expected, if at all. So I completely agree with you on that. The last story here is actually a story that broke pretty soon pretty soon to when we started the podcast. This is over at IGN as well. Alex Osborne writes, Resident Evil 7 details outed by ratings board. New details about Resident Evil 7 have surfaced thanks to premature listing by ESRB. I would skip ahead 10 minutes into the podcast if you don't want to hear this, if you're worried about spoilers, but it doesn't really spoil anything. It just gives a little bit of plot details, very loose plot details, but just in case you don't want Resident Evil 7 spoiled, skip 10 minutes ahead into the podcast. So the ESRB's summary also reaffirms that Resident Evil 7 will be played in first person. It also states that Ethan is described as a man who's searching for his missing wife in a derelict mansion. I've never read that word. What is that word? Derelict?
Derelict? It means
right?
abandoned.
Okay. I've never seen that word. will be played in first person, through which players will explore the environment and use pistols, shotguns, flamethrowers, explosives, and chainsaws to kill mutant creatures. The second part here is actually the one that gets me most excited, because it definitely shows that they are going for the horror aspect, and it says will feature cutscenes that contain intense violence and gore, including instances in which a character's arm dismembered by a chainsaw, a man's leg taken off at the knee with a shovel, a character impaled through the face with a shovel. Portions of the game will also feature mutilated corpses that will have their insides exposed, as well as dialogue that contains strong language. So though the trailers and stuff were hinting very strong at horror vibes, we still don't know how horror. This obviously shows that it's very horror. Very few action games have mutilated corpses that have their insides exposed. So,
man, I cannot wait to play this in PSVR with those Sony Gold surround sound headphones on. Oh my God, I'm going to shit my pants. I can't.
I don't know. Well, I guess the good thing is if you don't like the experience in VR from the frame rates and stuff, you can just take off the VR and play it normally. But from what some people have said, it doesn't run very well in PSVR. People are saying it wasn't designed for it, obviously, and it was an afterthought, which probably is the case. But I'm excited. I was kind of turned off at the fact that it's first person, but now that I think about it, the true way a horror game is played now with the Outlasts and stuff like that, I think first person is the evolution of the horror game.
It's scary.
Whoa, I don't know about that.